The next part of the fire triad we're going to discuss is fuel. We've already talked a little bit about fuel in terms of the cotton and Vaseline tinder that we've gotten held inside of a small match container. What we're going to deal with now is in the environment we go out, what do we burn after the tinder? So the tinder accepts the spark, we've got a good strong fire source continuing, and now we need something from the environment to burn. Try to avoid picking something off of the ground directly. What you want instead is standing dead wood, and you want to look for something that's about the size of a toothpick. You go out into the environment, you get into the small conifer trees are the best, but you can use deciduous. Conifer meaning cone-bearing, pine trees, fir trees, etc. So you go into the inside of a fully mature fir tree, for example, get right now next to the bottom of it, and you'll find a whole series of dead branches that don't have any needles on them. What you're looking for is what we call the snap test. Now, I've got an example of some really small, fine stuff that I found just exactly the way that I just described. What I've got here are these very small, toothpick-sized pieces of wood that were dead off the ground, and when I bend them, they snap in half. If you find itself bending all the way around and you could tie a knot in it, that means there's lots and lots of water inside. And the water keeps all of this stuff from burning particularly well. A small amount of flame, that heat source from our cotton and Vaseline, will burn this really small stuff, even if it does happen to be a little bit wet or damp. We can find that in next to the bottom of the trees. Once this material starts burning, then what we do is we move up to the next size, which is kind of not quite the diameter of a pencil, but maybe up to the diameter of a pencil. Once that's burning, then we'll move up to the size of fingers, and so on and so forth, until we finally get to our final sustaining fuel size, things that we've found out in the environment that we can burn for a much longer sustained fire that we find ourselves needing as we go in. So I've got standing dead wood, even in a temperate rainforest like we have in the coasts of the Pacific Northwest in the United States. There it rains as much as 3 months solid without stopping. So everything in the environment is completely soaking wet, or at least it appears so. What you can do is you can find small materials like this. They're larger than you would want to start a fire with initially. Think the diameter of your forearm. Go in, I can find that with my solid shank knife and my folding saw. I can take those and I can cut something called a baton. Okay, fancy word for a hammer. I'm going to use this with other materials, as I've shown already, to actually cut up something small. The natural coverings of the wood, the bark, protects the interior, and I've got dry wood even in a really, really wet environment.